Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, what is up? What is good? The king. The king of lightning here today, bringing you guys and gals Hunter x Hunter. The glory that is Togashi Yoshihiro's Hunter x Hunter manga, baby. Now, for this video, because of course I'm behind, and I never plan on being behind, but I always wind up being behind, and I do apologize for that. This is a review, technically speaking, but instead of going through each segment in great detail, like I normally do, because I've already do for this video for 4 chapters. This video is gonna be 3 hours long. Straight up! So, instead, what I did is that I took the major focus points of each chapter, and I still gave a overall rating for the chapter based on the pacing, based on the character components of the chapter, as well as the story components of the chapter. So, there's still a rating for each chapter. And I'm gonna start off with that, and then we'll go to the major points of the chapter. Now, when it comes to these 4 chapters, 381 is mainly a setup chapter, though sales like at that point I'm like, okay, yeah, the man's done. From jump, okay, yeah, he's done. But 82 with Hulkenberg. 82 with Hulkenberg among this batch of chapters is the best chapter. It's the best chapter of the bunch. 83 with the Kacho stuff. Wow, that's it's very sad, honestly, because if you have siblings, like if you're a brother or a sister, you understand fully where she's coming from in her desire to protect her sister, and seeing what it's almost sadder in a way that if Fugetsu would just realize that she died, because it'd be then and there. Whereas how it's happening, it's like I feel like it's sadder in a way, the way Togashi's playing it out. Because what we see with Fugetsu and Kacho, in a sense, it's not real. Well, it's not, because Kacho's dead. And it's like, I mean, honestly, it's sad. It really is sad. But it's probably the reason why Togashi is one of the best in the business. And then you have chapter 384, where the end part of that is some Fourth Prince stuff, and it's like, this guy doesn't stop. He doesn't stop. Every 8 minutes, he's going through a Zenkai boost. I'm like, bro, what the hell? Like, this guy's insane. In 385, it's even more. It's like, bro. And in 385, Theta's like, oh, like, now Theta's gonna be out of the picture. The one dude's coming in her place, and we'll get to that chapter review later on in the week, definitely, absolutely. I guarantee you that. Probably tomorrow, actually. But the fact of the matter is that it's like this guy just doesn't stop. His exponential growth is truly that exponential, dude. So by the time Kurapika and the Fourth Prince square up, this guy's gonna be like a supervillain. It's like, but he was not supposed, at least on paper, when you see him for the first time, he's like, eh. Like, if Kirby gets his hands on him, he can handle. But now it's like, ooh, I don't, whoa. Like, not only is it the Nen Beast from the ceremony, but now he has this other thing. I'm like, wait, what? The Fourth Prince is wild. He is out of this world, truly. And I wish Kurapika the best. I really do. But this situation is complicated, and it's only getting more complicated as the chapters go on. And Kurapika can't use his full power against him because he's not a fam true member. So Kurapika is limited against the guy to begin with. And he's growing at such an astronomical rate. It's like, bro, okay, like, give or take like another week or so, He really is a genius. Like, his IQ is 220. Like, it's wild. All right, so let me bring it all the way back to chapter 381. I'm going to read off of the major bullet points for this chapter, but first and foremost, let me give you the general synopsis of the rating here. So, for the pacing, we have 4 parts to this chapter. For the character components of this chapter, we have 3 parts to this chapter. For the story components of this chapter, we have 4 parts as well. And the overall rating for chapter 381 is a 7 out of 10. And mind you, normally I would do, you know, like 7.25 or 6.75, that kind of stuff. And for me, it works because when it comes to certain attributes, I go by quarters and increments of quarters. That's how it works for me. But some folks, a lot of folks, I would say, they don't like the 0.25s or the 0.75s. They just want 0.5 and that's it. I can understand why maybe a 0.25 or 0.75 may throw some cats off. I just do it because, again, I go by quarters when it comes to gauging certain components of, let's say, the story, because it's better that way, at least for me. But I think because folks are turned off by it in a way, we'll go 0.5. We'll keep it basic. We'll either go with a whole number or a 0.5, and that's it. So once again, for chapter 381, that is a 7 out of 10. Now, for the major components of this chapter, number 1, only Kacho can open the return door to the outgoing door that Fugetsu makes. And this is what we find out in the chapter when it comes to their abilities, at the beginning of the chapter. Because that's when Fugetsu's talking to Mizai Storm, and then she's, essentially speaking, she's still young. And she is saying these things that are putting Kacho in detriment. But Mizai's gonna let all that slide. Not a big deal. Once again, only Kacho would open the return door to the outgoing door that Fugetsu makes with her Nen Beast. Plus, as long as the door is closed, they can use the return door to go elsewhere. Her powers are based on a kid's game they used to play. So it's fortifying the notion that, you know, they were really close when they were growing up and they're still close now. And it only makes 383 even sadder, like it really is. We learn this when Fugetsu is with Mizai Storm and when she returns to Tier 1. Though, she doesn't help Storm at all, not in the slightest. She keeps her mouth shut. I'll talk to only 10th Prince Kacho. But again, because there is a succession war, it became a bit difficult on Mizai Storm's part. But ultimately, it was just taken care of. Later in the chapter, Yushohi, one of Benny's boys, believes that assassins will target Fugetsu because now the knowledge of her powers is out, or at least there's a good synopsis of that, and for the most part they're harmless. So that's the first major point when it comes to this chapter. Number 2, the supervisor of the independent jury, and this is the guy that was talking to Melody, and Melody was making the assumption that he was having a go at, not having a go at her, but more so like he was making advances on Melody, which, given her look, is very, very rare, considering. But that being said, and we don't know what his name is, the supervisor of an independent judicial branch has respect for Melody and wanted to come by again to see her, but it's mainly for the music component. As far as I know, he's not actually like into Melody. I hope not. As well as trust her with the protection of Kacho. He makes several requests on establishing communications with Melody, but this only makes her suspicious of him, thinking he might be manipulated while she monitors his heartbeat before he leaves. So this person, he may be a big factor later on when it comes to Melody and that camp, the Kacho camp. Because right now, Kacho is quote-unquote Kacho is coming back, but that's not really Kacho. That's the fake, if you would. And Melody has probably caused a big uproar because she dragged everybody that can listen through the speakers into the world of sound. So you have to wonder, Melody is probably the pickle. And the one guy that was playing the piano before her, Keeney, he offed himself. So, yeah, there's going to be a big uproar in the 10th camp, especially if they recognize that Kacho has deceased. There should be a way to tell if this Kacho is fake or real. There should be a way to tell that, honestly. So we'll have to wait and see how that goes in the future. But Melody is going to be in some trouble. And this guy may help her get out of said trouble. And again, Keeney killed himself. Okay, I understand that. But the fact that she took everyone to the world of sound, that in of itself should lead folks to question what's going on with her. Moving on, though, we go to the Sail Sail stuff. The Predator ability of Rihan gets enough info on 8th Prince Sail Sail's ability to consume it and take it out. The Nen Beast of Sail Sail is destroyed. Rihan cannot use Predator for 48 hours as a result. Then Rihan subs out with Yushohi, who has the ability most suited for assassination among their group. So the Predator is, like, this thing was designed clearly. He got enough intel on the ability of the Nimbus of Sail. He took care of the little orb on that one dude, the other bodyguard. Okay, we're cool. And then Sail's Beast is done. Just out of commission KO. Later on, we see what happens as a result of Yushohi being there. It's like, now, we get the details of Yushohi's ability, how to get away with murder, and how that works with the little buzzing needle thing. And then finally, again, I don't want to go through all the details of that because we'll be here for like an hour and a half if we do. And then finally, the lockdown that we saw previously because there was a quote-unquote stowaway. The lockdown on some of the floors of the ship has been lifted, which I believe was mainly the 3rd floor. And that's it for chapter 381. So once again, I give you the rating, 7 out of 10 for that chapter. Overall, an okay chapter. Now, 382. For this, when it comes to the general scope of this chapter for the rating, we have 5 parts when it comes to pacing. We have 5 parts for character. And some of these parts, yes. Like for Hulkenberg, yes. For Nasubi, the king of Kaken, it was surprising. Hulkenberg actually went through development. Like, this dude changed after talking to his dad. Like, okay. Okay. So 5 very solid parts when it comes to character. And then finally, 5 parts for story. The overall chapter rating for chapter 382 is an 8.5. I would have given it an 8.75, but again, folks, you know, like my rating would be an 8.75. But for sake of the review, 8.5 out of 10. It's a damn good chapter, bro. That's a great plus, right? That's a great plus. So let me get to the details here. Hulkenberg. Hulkenberg was impressive. He was impressive from jump. Then Nasubi was impressive. And then Hulkenberg came back and he was like, yo, the whole thing was sexy. Like Hulkenberg, I feel like Hulkenberg should be the victor. That's the way I feel. Because the 4th prince, he just can't be allowed in the outside world. Whether it's the new outside world or the old outside world. No, he just can't be allowed. Like, he has to be taken out here and now at some point in this arc. He has to. He's too much of a threat. Benjamin, even though Benny Boy is broken, Hulkenberg is like, God damn, bro. Like, what? Like, Benny's broken, but Hulkenberg's like, what the actual fuck, dude? Let's get right into it, man. Hulkenberg. This guy's nuts. So, Hulkenberg. After 4 days, the time it took for the guards to lower their guns when he and his men arrived, that was planned. He finally confronted his father, Nasubi, to try and stop this war. He does this at gunpoint. But then Nasubi starts to lay down some quotes for his son. At gunpoint. Like epic quotes. Quote number 1. The battle is for you. All of you. Don't let others do the work for you. You need to take action, Hulkenberg. There's nothing more disgusting than hypocrisy. It's important for Hulkenberg, specifically knowing his character. Hulkenberg does have these greater ambitions. And part of that was through some means of revolution. But in the same process, he didn't want to get his family involved. Even though his family, meaning his siblings, also have the right, if you would, to be king. It's not just princes 5 through up, like people perceived. Hulkenberg's in that pot too. So Hulkenberg, he had these ambitions, but at the same time, his actions were contrary to his own ambitions, which was actually explained before. And I believe it was Shikaku, one of Benjamin's boys. I believe he was the one that I think it was that chapter when he was analyzing the Nen Beast. And then they were talking about how there could be an adverse effect on Hulkenberg's abilities if Hulkenberg's mindset kind of changes greatly or like against the grain. The details I'm iffy on, but I remember it was discussed where like there is a difference between what his ambitions are and then what his actions are. And then that difference could lead to an imbalance in his powers. And what Natsubi is talking about here is kind of indicating that in a sense when it comes to Hulkenberg's mindset. I love that. That quote's good, especially when it comes to specifically Hulkenberg. Now, Natsubi states after Hulkenberg fires at him, but fails to kill him due to the Nen Beast, he is also a part of this ritual now, and he cannot die until it ends. So, of course, this pertains to that room where after the 12th Prince, Momose, after she died. Wait, is it Momose? Yeah. Mariam's the 13th prince. So after the 12th prince, there's so many princes. After the 12th prince, Momoze dies. We see that one room with the strange coffin, and then one has like some kind of Nen force in it after she dies. So I'm assuming that as of 383, there should be another coffin lit up. And that should be the one, I guess, indicating the 10th Prince Kacho. This probably also means that at some point, he himself will have to pass away. The ritual is for the new king. And then once the ritual is complete, once the new king is crowned, then I guess he himself will have to pass away too. So at the end of this journey, Nasubi may pass away, and we could have a new crowned king on the Black Whale Mark 1. Or it happens when they reach the actual continent itself. And like on the continent, Nasubi proclaims the new king, and then he goes off somewhere. But he probably died. That's my guess. Either way. Because he says, once again, he's also part of this ritual now, and he cannot die until it ends. Hulkenberg tries to take his own life, but his Nen Beast stops the bullet, thereby solidifying that Hulkenberg cannot escape the current situation, and this war continues. And the way his Nen Beast stopped it, Matrix that. He blocked Hulkenberg, like Hulkenberg. This thing. Yo, I'm not gonna lie. Hulkenberg's Nen Beast design, I think, is the best out of all of them. Like, it's just cool. It's epic. Nasubi, another quote from the man himself. What must survive is the country. And this throws off Hulkenberg quite a bit. And I think it's what makes this actual character development change within Hulkenberg's mindset when he, quote-unquote, awakens, according to Benjamin. Because Nasubi has to now view this whole thing differently. It's beyond his initial scope, beyond his initial plans, by miles. And Nasubi, again, just laying down the law. So, once again, what must survive is the country. The people's lives always come first. The question is who pulls the lever. You cannot be king without bearing the cross. You cannot change the country without being king. Tell me you don't need a king after you become one. Oh my God, dude! Like, as a fat man, right? Myself, Nasubi just has rolls on his neck, just chilling. His Nen Beast has like some weird titty things. I don't know what's going on there. Like, not like these good ones, but like some just freakish stuff. The man seems like he's an absolute weirdo of the highest order, but he's dropping wisdom. He's dropping hard wisdom. Once again, let me just roll this back. What must survive is the country. The people's lives always come first. That must have stunned Hulkenberg when he heard that from his father. That must have absolutely flabbergasted him. He saw his father in one light. He comes out seeing his father in a whole different light. That has to be the case. That had to be the case. The question is, who pulls the lever? You cannot be king without bearing the cross. Like, dude. Like, that right there is just... That's heavy. That's heavy as all hell, bro. You cannot be king without bearing the cross. You cannot change the country without being king. Tell me you don't need a king after you become one. Yo, shout outs to Nasubi, bro. Like, this chapter was just fantastic. And then Hulkenberg's plan has failed. Now, granted, it's all under the guise of a drill, so they're okay. His ninth camp is okay when it comes to the soldiers, but his plan has failed. Now, Benjamin knows that Hulkenberg went to kill Nasubi, and he knows that it was called off under the pretense of it being a drill. The next part, Shikaku, one of Benny's boys, is the first to be taken, quote-unquote taken, like it's taken king, man, taken by Hulkenberg's ability, since Hulkenberg has quote-unquote awakened, since his mindset has changed greatly, character development, all right? Again, for me, when it comes to character components, I separate character growth from character development in the standpoint of character development is more of a mental aspect, whereas character growth is like whatever we find about them within the world that they're in, or how they've changed with respect to the world that they're in, but they're kind of the same mentally. So that being said, Hulkenberg's ability, and I'll also argue that it's good character development, considering the situation that Hulkenberg is in. Hulkenberg's ability, his followers' aura, united, becomes an unparalleled armor that protects the prince and an arrow to pierce his enemies. His follower's ability, United, becomes an unparalleled armor to protect the prince, and an arrow to pierce his enemies. His own aura becomes a bow, and the fired arrow pierces the enemy's every possible defense. Wait. Let me finish this, man. Let me finish this. His own aura becomes a bow, and the fired arrow pierces the enemy's every possible defense and robs the flesh of his will, only in exchange for the body of one of his followers. And now, as a result, one of Hulkenberg's men has taken over the body of Shukaku. Shukaku had some weird, like, Yu-Gi-Oh, like, straight up, like, it was like some Yu-Gi-Oh thing, and he was gonna turn something into a card. He tried turning into a card or something. No, like, whatever he had planned on doing, no. False, wrong, negated. Because if you didn't know, Hulkenberg is now hard-broken. Like, Benjamin's, we have too many hard-broken cats right now among the princes. Benjamin is hard-broken. The fourth prince, hard-broken. At least he's on the way there. Camille's powers, in and themselves, are pretty broken, but he's not smart enough to execute them properly. And now Hulkenberg is hard-broken. It's like, what, dude? Bypass all possible defenses? And robs the flesh of its will? And Hulkenberg has quite a bit of followers. And the first one to go is inside one of Benjamin's boys. That's prime time right there. Now, I do wonder if the body of Shukaku passes away, does his follower return to his original body? Yo. If the dude, Shukaku's main body, let's say Hulkenberg's guy tries to infiltrate Benjamin's camp, they are suspicious of Shukaku and they kill him, would he then return back to his own body? Because then it'll kind of like an infinite supply. Or does he die along with his now new body? I will say this, alright? Camp Wobble. Wobble is too young. He's a baby. He's an infant. So him being king, I think, is a bit ridiculous. But I think there will be a way to have him escape, even though we saw what's going on with Kacho, which we'll get to real soon. There should be a way for him to escape. And that's why I'm leaning more towards Hulkenberg. Or I'm leaning towards Benjamin, no. I'm leaning towards Hulkenberg. I really, really am. But we'll have to wait and see how that goes. Because this guy right now is just too much. He's too much. So, the next point for this chapter, Sail is done. I mean, he's pretty much done. Alright, like... You show his powers effect, how to get away with murder. Sail is like in bed, face turning like purple, and you have his guards, which are all females. They're trying to like get him back to life and like resuscitate him or something. He's done. Though they don't say that in the next chapter. They say that he's ill, quote unquote, but no, he's done. He's dead. And then finally, the banquet begins. Yeah, chapter 382 is the best chapter of the bunch. Chapter rating, once again, 8.5 out of 10. This chapter was fire. It was absolute fire. Definitely. That is a great plus. A great plus chapter, without question. And now, chapter 800. Chapter 383. Now, here we go. First of all, when it comes to, again, the general rating for this chapter, you have 3 parts for the pacing, which works really fine. You have 3 parts for character, and then you have 4 parts for the story. Now, the character stuff is actually pretty good when it comes to Kacho and company, definitely. As well as Kini. But Kini is just more, like, he's more so of a prop. Like, he's just there. Like, Kini was just there. We never got much on him until this chapter. That's really it. So, the overall chapter rating for chapter 383 is a 7.5 out of 10. I was actually going to give it a 7.25, but I gave it a 5. I rounded it up. So, 7.5 out of 10. So, first thing here. The program for the banquet begins with Melody ready to execute the plan in 90 minutes' time. Furthermore, the 8th Prince Sail has, once again, quote-unquote, fallen ill, a.k.a. it's a wrap, he's done. Another prince down the hatch, and won't be performing. And by the way, if you forgot, Sail proclaimed that his performance was going to, quote-unquote, change the world. And mind you, when it comes from the standpoint of manipulation, his inability was pretty well suited for that. Definitely. But he himself couldn't cut it. And by the way, there's also going to be a... this is going to be... If ever the anime gets to this point in time, which it should at some point in the future. But when that future is, it could be like the distant future. But during the performance, the banquet, there's going to be a Basho rap battle. I was like, what? I'm like, Basho can spit? Like, get out of here. Really? Basho. I mean, okay, fair enough. You know what? He does look like the kind of guy that would spit. So, okay, fine. Like Basho, like I would want to hear that. I really would. That'd be kind of cool. All right, so either way, the last two performances are Kini, Melody, then 10th and 11th Prince. We see how that goes around the chapter. Next point. The 13th Prince camp is organizing the situation in their room, considering the ability of Mariam's Nen Beast powers. For the time being, Biscuit is staying. Now, it's a bit complicated because I think it's the room within the room. Like where Mariam and his mother are staying, they're almost completely cut off because of his Nen Beast. And so once you leave, you can't, if you come back, you won't be able to see what's going on. Like with Hanzo. Hanzo couldn't tell what's going on. So people have to stay in there, in particular the servants, because that may trigger the Nen Beast of Mariam to do something, like may freak out. And again, they don't want that to happen at all. So Biss is gonna stay in there to make sure that everything's a-okay. As well as that one dude, I forgot his name, but the guy that likes muscle chicks, like him, like the guy that has, I would argue, very strange and unusual taste. The escape plan. This is the big thing here. The sounds from the banquet were played across the floor, and Melody was able to entrance all those who listened in quote-unquote a world of sound for 3 minutes to help Kacho and Fugetsu escape. Kini is the one who guides them to lifeboats during this entrancement to make sure there are no accomplices, as well as to keep the mission of the Hunter Association on track. Kini kills himself. And then he states, well, we get like a flashback of his situation, talking to Melody. He says, he was looking for a place to die ever since his wife and kid died in an accident 2 years ago. And then after he sees the girls in the lifeboat, boom. But the next point, escape plan failed and Kacho's death. The lifeboat they are on is passing through an opening in the Black Whale Mark I, but before they reach the exit, Kacho feels something terrible, and she realizes that leaving the ship means death. Now, I'm not sure if she can actually see them. No, I think she could actually see them. The hands that are starting to form. Like these weird kind of ghostly, apparition-ish, Nen-like hands are starting to form around them. Fugetsu couldn't see them at all. She was oblivious to this. But Kacho could at least feel it. She could feel something amiss, that something was wrong. Strange hands start to form around them. Fugetsu, unaware to this, makes the door, like Kacho says. And as soon as their lifeboat hits the outside waters, as soon as they touch the outside waters, the hands rush the pair. Fugetsu is in the tunnel, safe and sound by that time. And Kacho, after a few seconds, opens the door and appears to be fine. But that is a doppelganger created by Kacho's Nen Beast. The real Kacho is gone. The real Kacho is dead. That was sad. That was really sad. Because she saved Fugetsu. And she was trying so hard. And they have to go back anyway now. But it's not even her. It's her Nen Beast. So, last point for this chapter. Their cooperative Nen Spirit Beast. Fugetsu's Nen Beast is Secret Door, a magical worm with a translocation ability. Fugetsu controls the outward journey while Kacho controls the return journey. Kacho's Nen Beast is Season of 2, Without You. If either one of the two dies, it takes her form. So let's say if Fugetsu died instead of Kacho, then the Nen Beast of Kacho will become Fugetsu. But I'm not too sure if she would then have Fugetsu's abilities. No, I doubt that. But that's the thing though. Even though the host is no longer active. Well, no, that's a part of the ability itself because Kacho is dead, but the Nen Beast is kind of designed to act independently when one of them dies. It's really sad, honestly. If either of the two dies, it takes her form to protect the other and stay by her side until her death. So let's say, hypothetically speaking, let's say Fugetsu wins this, right? And then Fugetsu is now king of Kaken. The Nen Beast of Kacho, well, it would have to be revealed at that point in time that is a Nen Beast. That's actually Kacho herself. Because the real Kacho is dead. But then when she's growing up, she'd be growing up with a Nen Beast that mimics her sister. Ah, man, like it's rough, man. It really is rough. But again, that's what makes Togashi one of the best in the business. Fugetsu, Kacho. Kacho is dead. It is likely that in the next few chapters, it will be confirmed that, at least on the part of Nasubi, he'll go to the room and he'll see that Kacho is dead, and Sail is probably dead as well. So 3 princes down, and there's many more to go. Now, chapter 384. This is the end of the chapter, is because chapter 385, that's like the main 4th Prince chapter. But this chapter ends on like some 4th Prince stuff, and it's pretty heavy. But then it starts with Fam Troop, which is like, okay, all right, Fam Troop. So you have 2 parts for pacing. Then you have 3 parts for character, and finally you have 3 parts for the story for this chapter when it comes to the overall chapter rating. And the chapter rating itself is going to be an 8 out of 10, a solid 8 out of 10. Now, the major points of this chapter. Number 1, at the end of chapter 382, and I'm not gonna lie to you, it kind of threw me off as to what was going on here, but I had to go back literally 2 chapters to figure out what was going on. At the end of chapter 382, we're on the 8th day, Sunday, at 8 p.m. This chapter starts off on the 7th day, Saturday, at 10:30 p.m. So we go back in time from the banquet 22 hours and 30 minutes. In 384, going back almost 24 hours. With respect to 382, was kind of weird, but not necessarily a big deal there. So, introduction of Tajao. I think I'm saying that right. The assistant of the I can't say the name. The Cha-R boss, one of the mafia families, the Cha family, okay? So, he's the assistant of the Cha family boss, which makes him the vice boss. There we go. Also military advisor for the 7th Prince Army. He is getting filled in on the situation when it comes to the I can't say these names. Yeah. The Hell Lee family. I'm trying, I'm sorry. And the fam troop being there. One of the major aspects of this is the location of Morina herself, who apparently recently became the boss of the Heel family. So that's something that we didn't know about her, but now I find out in this chapter. If she, and this is very important, if she is not on tier 1, then this will cause all-out war. And actually, I'll go through details here. There are unwritten codes within the Kaken Mafia system, and the boss of a family must make a deal with the other boss of another family if something happens between their men within 24 hours. Furthermore, and this deal can be like whatever. So let's say you have, family A, and a member of family A wants to kill somebody in family B. Well, the person in family A, he'll form his boss, like, yo, boss, I'm gonna kill this one guy. I can't stand him. And he kills this one guy. Well, the boss of family B and the boss of family A would talk to each other. And the person that's a call is the boss of family A. He calls and he says, yo, listen, man, like, I'm sorry my guy did this. It was kind of stupid. And then they make a deal. So the deal could be the life, it could be a limb, it could be money, that kind of stuff. They talk about that in the chapter. But if the boss, and so we continue here. Furthermore, the location of the boss must be away, quote unquote away, from the turf area at the time of said incident. So if the boss was there in the turf area when the shooting took place between his men and the other boss's man, then that's going to be an issue. Now, the deal can override that as long as it's a solid deal. But in this case of Morina, it's going to lead to some problems here. So, since Morina hasn't called the boss of the Cha family to make the deal, even though more than 2 days have passed since the first murder, if her location isn't on tier 1 or 2, then war begins. And the reason why is simple, because tiers 3, 4, and 5 are all Mafia turf, whereas tiers 2 and 1 are not. So Morina, just how the Cha and the XU, the Z, I think, I said, whatever, I'm butchering it. Just how the other 2 family bosses are in tier 1 or tier 2, she must be there too, because again, she can't be on her own turf. But we continue. This will hinder the troops' movements, so they are willing to take out Morina. Sphinx and Nobunaga are willing to take out Morina themselves, which only solidifies how dangerous the troop is to the Cha guys around them, mainly the underboss and the vice boss. They see how dangerous, okay, like these guys really are, like, holy crap, they're actually dangerous. They could take down this whole system on the ship if they so wanted to. Now, the next thing here pertains to Morina herself. The 4th Prince cannot get in contact with Marina, and her VVIP resident area seems to be vacant. So, as far as you know, Marina right now is not on tier 1 or tier 2. But the 4th prince is getting the soldiers to check the lower tiers to find her hideout. And it looks like all-out war is going to happen. It's going to happen between the between Marina's family and the other families. Or at least the Cha family. No, the Z family too, because that family I think has lost men as well to the actions of the hitmen of the Heel family. Yeah. So, the last 2 points for this video and for this chapter. Number 1. Yo, this dude! The 4th prince, after on the phone talking to some dudes about Marina, he's back to business. The 4th prince has created a specialist Nen beast without intending to. This man hockeyed up and instinctively made a specialist Nen beast on top of his royal Nen beast. So that's like, bro, this man is stacking Nen beast. Literally. He didn't do so willingly. He conjured up this Nen creature instinctively. It was his nature. And his nature, one beast created from the ritual, another created from his own alter ego through instinct. His specialist Nen beast, for like one panel, had the numbers 666 imprinted on its midsection. Like, what the fuck? Like, what is this guy doing? Like, straight up Lucifer, man. Like, what the, dude? How is that instinctive? How does your Nen beast have the mark of the devil instinctively? No, bro. This guy, he's too much. He's too much. He's leagues above the competition. Instinctively. Theta, shaking in her boots. And the last part, for an obvious reason. And the last part, Theta, upon seeing the 4th prince's current Nen ability, focuses on training his Zetsu with intentions to execute a plan for tomorrow. And she wants to do it truthfully, because she has to stop him, and Zetsu's ready to do it. Which we find out in the next chapter, which is true. We find out what her intentions are. The Zetsu to rein in his Nen ability. When he closes all the Nen abilities, then the Nen beast itself disappears too. And that was her time to strike, but then it coincides with melody, and it's like, what? And then he's like, but we'll get to that. But we'll get to that in the next chapter. The next chapter discussion, all right? Yeah, no, these chapters of Hunter x Hunter have been fire. They have been fire. I do apologize for not getting to actual reviews, but I think this style is actually more preferable to me personally. You know, because I don't want to go, because sometimes I feel like I'm going through all these details, but are they really necessary to go through all these details? Like every detail? So to go through like the basic main points of the chapters, I think makes sense to me. But let me know where you stand, honestly. If you get this point in the video, let me know where you stand in the comments down below. Would you rather me do this kind of style more, where I tell you like what part is, you know, like the pacing is 2 parts, the character is 5 parts, the story is 4 parts, and then we go over to like the nitty gritty? Or would you go back to the old way, where I tell you each component of each section, piece by piece, and then at the end of the video, chapter rating? So let me know where you guys stand. So that being said, guys and gals, 4th Prince and Hulkenberg. There's some juicy stuff in these chapters, man. And there's still 85, which I'll get to at the end of the week. I promise you that. At least tomorrow. Oh no, at least at the end of the week. Hopefully tomorrow. So, that being said, guys and gals, I am done. I am done, guys and gals. Be sure to rate the video. It is not that hard to do, especially when I know that you all have a device called Zaymausu. You use Zaymausu to click, rate the video, to click, subscribe, to click on that bell to join the squad. And of course, as always, please do let me know. Comment in the comment section down below. Peace. And have a nice goddamn day.